I was in this neighborhood because I wanted to be close to my job. And my job was 10 minutes away. And the apartment itself, even though it was small, it was very nice. But we're talking about gang shootings, constant car thefts, murders. I mean, it was so many things going on. And really, it's by the grace of God that I was able to live in that apartment for 4.5 years. Not to mention, I mean, think about it. You've been working all day. You come home and someone is in your parking spot. And that happened to me like 5 times. And it was terrible. It was terrible. And my mother begged me to move because she said, wait a minute, you're working at a corporate job. You have good money. Why don't you just move? You don't have to stay there. But I knew deep down inside of me that I wanted my own home. Now, at the time, it seemed like it was almost impossible. I'm going to tell you, my credit was terrible. We're talking about in the low 500s because, you know, I've been to college like maybe 7 to 8 years with multiple degrees and a lot of student loans, a lot of credit card debt, a lot of collections, different things going on. So it seemed almost impossible. But I remember sharing with my mom that I wanted my own home. And she said, no, you're going to be stuck into that home and you're going to be stuck with a mortgage. That's not a good idea. I'm just going to tell you the truth. My mother was negative about the idea of me getting a house. She didn't understand why I was living in this neighborhood. She wanted me to just move to an upscale, you know, apartment or a townhome or condo, 2-bedroom. But I am a Christian and I prayed to God. I said, God, please, when I leave this apartment, I want to move into my own home. I know so many people think it's impossible because I am a single mother. Okay. And the thing is, sometimes people think when you're a single parent, oh no, you're not going to be able to afford your mortgage payment or get your own home. You know, just get what you can. But my mindset was totally different. So here's where I put my faith in action. I knew that I was going to get a home. I just didn't know when. I just didn't know where, but I knew it. I had faith. And the crazy thing about it is I went to the local U-Haul and started buying moving boxes, not having any idea how I'm going to get this home. I knew my credit was terrible, but I just had faith. I just believed that I could do it. So I took my daughter and I said, let's go. We're going to get these U-Haul boxes. We're going to pack our stuff because God is going to move us into a new home. And people thought I was crazy. I'm going to tell you, they thought, what? You don't even know where you're moving. You're not even pre-qualified. You don't have any money for the down payment. But kid you not, I got the U-Haul boxes, went home, packed my stuff, and I was there every day with a whole bunch of U-Haul boxes and cooking my dinner, looking at houses, and just believing and imagining me being in my own home. So I went to work one day, and we like to call it, you know, some people coincidence, but I know it's not a coincidence. My coworker said, hey, you know, guess what? I said, what? She said, I am in escrow for my own home. I said, what? Now, mind you, she's a single woman. She has no kids, and she was in escrow, I think, for like a 3-bedroom house. It was her dream house. And I said, oh, my God. I said, I would love to have my own home. And she said, well, why don't you just call my mortgage planner and maybe he can work something out. Now, mind you, I knew in my mind, I said, well, my credit sucks, but I'm just going to step out on faith. I'm just going to do it. I called the mortgage planner and he tells me, well, you know, your credit score is very low. And here's the thing. We can't help you right now, but are you willing to do what it takes to get it? I said, yes. He said, okay, I'm going to refer you to a friend of mine so you can go through a credit restoration program because I believe that we can help you because you've been in your job for like 7 years and you make good money. It's just the credit issue. I said, okay. I said, well, I still believe I'm going to get it. Now, mind you, everything is still packed up in my house. I went through that credit restoration program for 6 months. I paid over $1,000. And oh my God, this woman helped me. I found so many things on my credit that was incorrect. And she negotiated with my, bill collectors for me to have a payment plan with them to raise my credit score. I learned so much about raising my credit on my own through education. And I kid you not, I was ready. I was gung-ho. So So by the time when I had the money for the deposit, I said, okay, well, let me contact him again. I did everything he told me to do. So I contacted him and he said, okay, are you ready to rock and roll? I said, yeah, I'm ready. But something tragic happened. My father passed away. So my financial resources at the time was sent kind of towards the funeral and things like that. And unexpected things started popping up. And I said, you know what? I don't care what it takes. Nothing is stopping me from getting my own home. I don't care what circumstances I'm going through. I'm going to get it. I'm determined. I know I got it. Now, I do have a very spiritual family, and I spoke with my aunt, and she is an evangelist. And she told me, she said, I don't know if you've been praying for your own home, but God showed me that you had the keys to it. I saw you with the keys opening up the door. I said, oh my God. I said, thank you, God, because I have been praying for this. Another thing I'll tell you, I went to a Christian bookstore and I just happened to be in there looking for a gospel CD, and I'm not a very religious person, but I went in there looking for a gospel CD, and there was this prophet there, and he said his name was like Bishop Nelson, and he said, do you mind if I could speak with you, and I would like to pray with you? And I said, okay, no problem. And he prayed with me, and he told me, he said, young lady, I don't know if you have been looking for your own home. I don't know if you have been looking to invest in some real estate or something, but I see you having your own house. This kept coming before me. I said, I'm so close to getting my own home. I can almost feel it. Went back to the mortgage planner. He said, okay, you're ready. Everything's ready to go. He ran the paperwork. I sent all the documentation, and I was pre-qualified. I said, oh my God, I'm one step closer. And the crazy part about it is, and excuse my dog, she's barking outside, but okay. The crazy part about it is, he referred me to the same realtor that my coworker had. And I'm like, oh my God, what are the odds of this happening? So I had the realtor. We went out looking for homes. Now, mind you, I told my mother, I said, well, you know what? I said, Mama, I'm going to get my own home. I'm supposed to go with the realtor looking around. My mother was totally against the idea. She said, oh, no, you're going to be stuck. Don't waste your time. I said, no. I said, I really believe in God, and I know this is what he wants me to do, because I prayed and I believe that when I leave that apartment, I was in that apartment almost 5 years, and I knew when I stepped out of there, I was moving into my own home. Whatever it takes, I was going to go there. So I went with the realtor. We looked at this first house. It was too small. I said, oh, no, this is not going to work. We got to the second house. Oh, my Jesus. Every time I think about it, it just gives me chills. We got to the second house. As soon as we pulled up, I had such a feeling of peace inside of me. And it seems like it just really fits my personality. So we walked in, and my daughter said, Mom, this is it. I said, what? This is only the second house we looked at. My daughter said, Mom, this is it. I'm telling you, I feel it. This is it. Now, mind you, my daughter was 13 at the time. I said, you saying this is it? She said, yeah. I walked around and I said, yeah, this is my home. So I told the realtor, she said, are you sure you want to draw up the paperwork? I said, yeah, let's do it. We went back to the office. We drew up the paperwork. I'll never forget it. I wrote out a deposit on check number 117. And anyone out there that knows number 7, you know that 7 is God's perfection. So I knew that I was doing the right thing. I wrote it out, and I'm telling you, it's like I kind of had like buyer's remorse, because I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? A little fear started to really kick in. And I said, oh, this is really scary, because this is one of the biggest things that I've ever done in my life. So she calls me, the realtor, later on that night. And she tells me, are you sitting down? I said, yeah, I'm sitting down. She said, your offer has been approved. I said, what? That quick? She said, yes. She said, they want to roll with you. I said, oh my God. So we're going through this process, and the inspector comes out, and then the appraiser comes out. He appraises the house for it was like $10,000 less than what they had it for on the market. So she goes back to the seller and tells him, you know what? I got a buyer. She's ready to buy, but we can't give you that much because the house appraised at $10,000 lower than what you had it for. What are you going to do about it? She calls me back. She tells me, I've been fighting for you. I told them, look, in this market, the bottom line is you need to go with a woman that already has the cash and she's ready to rock and roll. Of course, they were in because they were investors and they're looking to make a profit. But guess what? They agreed to my amount. So it was much cheaper than the pre-qualified amount. I went through the whole escrow process. I got the house. I live in the home right now, four bedroom home and 2 bath. Only me as a single mother and my 14-year-old daughter. I was only praying to God for a 2-bedroom home, and he blessed me with a 4-bedroom home. I mean, very nice home. I have a huge backyard, and it's an absolute blessing. And at the end, not only did I get the house at a much lower value, but I ended up getting 2 checks. I had no idea. I didn't know the mortgage planner had sent my information for government grants, and I was entitled to some money, and I got money back, and I got money back from the escrow company. So that's my story of how you really need to believe. No matter what your circumstances are, things will happen for you only if you believe and really have faith that they can happen for you.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice for someone who's maybe in a similar situation to your own and who's, struggling with the faith and struggling with trying to believe, and maybe they want a bigger house just like you wanted? Maybe just some quick words of advice for someone in that situation.
My advice for someone who wants to own their own home, or not even just own home, but if you just want to do something and it seems like it's so far out of reach, of course, sometimes it seems so easy to say, ask, believe, receive. But my advice to you is ask yourself, is there anyone out there in the world that has it? Is there anyone out there in the world who has overcome similar circumstances, similar situations to attract these things in their life? And when you think about it, the answer is always going to be yes. So there's hope for you to get it, to receive these manifestations. Don't focus on your circumstances, because if you do that, it'll drive you crazy and it is negative and you're raising negative vibrations and you don't want to attract negative things to your life. Always ask yourself the question, and I call it allowing statements. Is there anyone out there that has achieved what I want to achieve? And the answer is always going to be yes.